This is Johnny Cycles with CyclesGaming.com, bringing you in another edition of Pioneer Curious. Um, we are playing a Mardu Aristocrat build. We have 5 lands, and we just finished a game in which we just got totally mana screwed. So we were gonna keep it, and it was both games we had mulligan and we had 2 landers, and we were struggling. Didn't matter much in our first game against our opponent in the last match, but it did matter in the second game where we had a chance to shut down what they were trying to do, only to have it. Um, Man, the flood. All right. Well, this is the way it goes sometimes, I suppose. You end up with um all right, a super hard flood. All right. We could we're going to go ahead and get down this impact trimmers. That's probably the highest upside. Now, okay, so now we're looking to draw into some more. We need a sack outlet, and preferably with all this mana, we want a Butcher the Horde. So next turn, if we draw a Butcher the Horde in the next 2 turns, I think that would make us happy. Or another Blood Artifact. Looks like we're playing some ramp, a mono green ramp. This is the first time I've played this deck. Alright, well, so we can do Blood Crypt. We're getting punished for our mana base again, so we can't do both Grim Initiates and the Raucous Theater, so whoops. But we are setting up. I mean, our opponent, who knows what how busted of a turn they can have next turn. They're gonna have 5 mana, so they might be pretty busted. Okay, well, our opponent's down to 3 cards, but they found their Nykthos land. They have all the manas. So we want to impact tremors. Number 2. That basically is a blood artifact, right? Depending on the draw. Grim Initiate, take 2 opponent. Maybe we should have attacked last turn, although last turn we couldn't. Alright, so we will. I mean, our Kioris, this is the problem my opponents have all the time, I think. Do we attack Kiora with such high loyalty, or do we just go face? And I think for us, we want to go face because we really need to chip in the damage. Man, just desperate for a Butcher the Horde, essentially. Butcher the Horde into Rally, and I think we might be able to close out the game if they don't have a way to gain life in their main deck. All the card draws coming. Yep. Hopefully they don't have any real finishers yet. We can hope. This is the kind of matchup that should be good for us because our opponent isn't interacting with a lot of what we're doing. If we can just find our pieces before they can kill us, then we should be able to compete. I mean, the Amelia combo is similar in the fact that, I mean, they play some removal, obviously, but they just happen to have a combo that wins them the game versus a deck like this that needs a big finisher. 8 mana. 16 mana? No, 13 mana. Storm the Festival. Sure. Drawing a whole bunch of cards. Man, this deck looks fun. So if we draw a Butcher of the Horde, we'll hit him for a 2 down to 12. We'll sack a Grim Initiate. Hit him for, yep. Hit him for, man, look at all those manas. All the manas, all the creatures. This deck looks pretty fun. Let's see, if we do draw the Butcher, that's the only hope right now, I think, is so we draw the Butcher, ping him for 2 to 12. Let's just do the math. So hit him for 2. Sacrifice the Grim Initiate. 1 off the Cruelest, and then 3, that's 5. To give it haste. Sacrifice it again. That's 6. Or the Zombie Army token. Sacrifice the other Grim Initiate. That's 1. Then 2 more. It's 3. That's up to 9. And then swing in for lethal. So yeah, I mean, we can get there if we find our... if they don't play something with reach, and if we can find our Butcher of the Horde. So Butcher off the top, please, deck. Do us a favor, please. Our opponent's having a lot of fun, though. Look at all the cards they've drawn. 11 cards, 7 mana. How does everything have haste and trample? Did I miss that? Other creatures you control get +1/+1 and have oh, I see. Yeah, so they transformed it, and then we die. Well, what were we gonna draw? Rally. I mean, that's something, but not what we needed. All right, so our deck is looking painfully painful at the moment. What do we want to bring in? What is Storm the Festival say? Does it allow them to put it into play, or do they cast it for free? I think it puts it in the, or does it just go to their hand? And we put 2 permanent cards from among them onto the battlefield. I don't think that is any of this stuff. That looks at the top 5, that looks at the top 4. I mean, it's something, right? But it's not very good. Vanishing Verse, maybe, and some Abrades. I mean, we had the setup, and we were 1 turn away, but man, they had so much mana. I've never seen the mono green deck in Pioneer in action, so that was pretty cool to see. Just to see them go off like that, and how powerful it is, and how quickly they can win. I don't know, that was what, turn 5 or 4? Alright, well, we have our mana. We have some things to do. We have our finishers. So we'll keep it. We don't have a way to kill their first mana dork. So far we've been running into the buzzsaw of the tier 1 Pioneer decks with my Mardu Aristocrat build, and it has not been going very well for us. I think we were 1 draw away from winning that last game, but we were never going to draw a card based on that a turn our opponent had. What a turn. Man, that was really exciting. I want to play that deck now. Maybe I'll try it out. I love Kiora, obviously. And I did go ahead after playing a couple of times against that 4-drop that lets you draw a card like Kiora. I did go ahead and get some, so I can test it out. What do we want to do? We can... I think we just have to pay the 2 life, which probably means I should have played the swamp, but oh well. So our opponent's probably pretty excited that we're not killing their Llanowar elves, and I would be too if I were them. We are setting ourselves up, though, if we can hit a land on time, to start chipping away at our opponent's life total with this Butcher. But after watching what they did with whatever turn that was, where they had all the mana, think it might have been a turn 5. Surprisingly similar start to last game from our opponent. Were they missing a land though? So yeah, this is one of the called Wolfville Haven. I mean, I did look at the list when I was building my Gruul Dragons deck to see what kind of ramp mono green uses, and that, you know, this is Utopia Sprawl essentially. Pioneer's Utopia Sprawl for 2 mana, and it, you know, has that upside of eventually you can make some wolf token out of it. But untapping it with Cure gives you the 4 mana. Bone it. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to test out another Cruel Celebrant. Alright, well, that is okay. We are setting up for they missed a land drop, which is good for us. Maybe we'll get some luck ourselves and draw into a untapped land. I'm sure our opponent plays quite a bit of land too. Alright, so that was good. What we really want is for our deck to behave and to not betray us like it did in the last game where we couldn't find the red source in our last match, sorry. And find a 4th land, get the butcher down. Do some math then, I guess. We only have the 1 blood artist effect, but that's okay. I shouldn't have F6'd because we can respond to things. Too bad you can't undo an F6, because they may have some way to interact with what we're doing, and I can cartel Aristocrat to sack and drain. If we draw a land, though, we can go. See, each creature is worth a damage. So 1, 2, 3, 4, down to 12, down to 7. Looks like they're missing some land. Mirror Breaker, as are we. Well, that was super frustrating. Our deck is going to betray us, it looks like. Our opponent, though, thankfully is stumbling too, and normally, I mean, you want to win, obviously, especially after the beatdown we took in game 1. But you know, I don't like it to see our opponent struggling for land. I'd like to win in a game that is a little bit more fair. Can we kill him this turn? So each creature is 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we really need to hit a land next turn. We'll have 2 looks at it, or 3 looks at it. Draw a card, discard 2. We can discard the butcher, see what our opponent finds. I would like it if our deck would not betray us when we're going to cost us this game, essentially. Can our opponent go off and kill us before we can see if we can find our 4th land? It's possible we won't find any lands, at which point we'd be very sad. We don't have 6 again because we do have ways to sack. Now they have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana, that magical number, for their Storm the Festival. Can they do what they did last game this turn? Doesn't look like it. Looks like they're going to just draw a bunch of cards, try to find their lands. So we have this one shot. If we can find our 4th land, we can win the game here. Fourth land, please. And that's not a 4th land. So if we put the Grim Initiate to the, if we keep that, we can go, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, we will use it, and we will put both to the bottom, or discard both. Oh my god. It might be enough, though, to be honest. Desperate for a land, desperate for a mana. I mean, just unbelievable. So what we can do, we'll probably play Cruel Celebrant. Now everything's worth 2. I think we can kill him now, because everything's about to be worth 3 after we attack with this Goblin Shaman. So we'll get the treasure token. Cobbling together here. The victory with missing a 4th land. And they scoop it up, so they see what's coming. All right, so without the 4th land, I mean, we saw so many cards. Still could not find the 4th land. Very frustrating to see it go down like that, but we were able to get there nevertheless. So opponent knows what we're up to. They're on the play. Is Vanishing Verse even good enough? Abrade, is it even good enough? Maybe we take out the Abrades. Bring in the Fables again? I don't know. Maybe we want the removal. I mean, if against in the last game, with them stumbling the way they did, it would have been fine. And they may bring in some sort of graveyard hate, so we'll just run it back and hope. Alright, so opponent stumbled, we got out of it faster. I mean, we have the sack outlet, we have the blood artists, we don't have the land, and we do have a piece of removal, but we've just been betrayed so frequently by our lands. I'm keeping. I mean, this is a great hand. We have everything we want. We have the rally, the sack outlet. We need some. We don't have everything. You can't have everything, but we do have the Vanishing Verse. Hey, we drew a white source right on time. What do we want to see? Grim Initiate. Alright, we will put that on top. So we can exile. The Cure is not a monocolor permanent, is the problem, but we can exile something to try to slow them down if we want, or we can wait for their big finisher to exile it. They're so explosive that they can flood the board with things we would like to target with Vanishing Verse if we let them. Maybe they'll miss a land again and then we'll Vanishing Verse their Land War Elves, slow them down. So next turn we can Vanishing Verse, then the following turn go Cartel Aristocrat and Grim Initiate into double Zoo the board if we're lucky. They're missing land again. Well, our opponent, man, with their own greedy keep, it looks like. Alright, well, we're trying to slow them down. See if it's good enough. Maybe they'll miss a land drop again. No, that's also a good target for us with a Vanishing Verse. Now where things are coming together from on our front, we really just need to draw a 4th land. And it's been that way this entire 2 matches. This entire league has been just hoping for lands. I guess our first game against our opponent, they're still looking. We had all the lands and then died before we could do anything. Cure is really good for them. So we're definitely on a clock. What can we do? We really want another land. We want a 4th land, and we can run out both Zoo the Port Cutthroats. And then we want to not die on our opponent's next turn. Never mind. I shouldn't have F6'd. Was not expecting tail swipe. So we don't, there we go, 4th land. We don't need the Cartel Aristocrat since we have the Butcher, but I can't forget that we should never F6 with this deck. And now we need another white source. So that was a good draw because it lets us play both Zoo the Port Cutthroats, but and our opponent really, they're hoping that they can getting rid of their mana dork here. They have 4 mana. Maybe they drew a land. I don't know, but now we can have 6 because we don't have a Cartel Aristocrat. But Another Wolf Haven Hollow. Alright, so now they're up to 4 mana. Sure, well. Old Growth Troll, draw them a card, trying to find their second land. It's good for them. So does it just add 1? Alright, so they tap for 3. Got it. That's good. So it's not quite Utopia Sprawl. So we're setting up. I mean, we would like to see a white source just for this cartel, for this rally. Another tail swipe. Man. Alright, well, it's not. There's our second white source. It's not the most explosive start from our opponent, thankfully, because of all those tail swipes. And we can butcher. Or do we want to just rally? We can rally. I think we want to butcher now. Always yield. Always yield. Haste. So now, do we go for... We have to do some math. We can kill Kiora. We can also, next turn, if we hit him to 11, we can rally and get back 1, 2, 3... So it'd be double Zulaport. That's 2. Every creature is 2 points of damage. So we hit him to 11. That would be 2, 4, 6, 8. Alright, well, we could just, we don't want to go for lifelink, but I think we have to go for 1, 2, they have 4 mana. Yeah, I think we just have to go for the cure. I think this is the safe bet. I'm not sure we can kill them dead. I think we might be able to with by putting them to 11 and then rallying. But killing the Kiora keeps them from having a super explosive turn and drawing a bunch of cards and refilling their hand. So they're down to 2 cards. I assume they don't, with the missing mana, they don't have they can't have too much of an explosive turn without the Kiora. Oh, they just had another Kiora. Alright, well, fair enough. At least it will slow them down a little bit. I hope. Both have trample. Alright, we'll take it. Hunted Witness. Okay. Well, we can't cast that and the rally, unfortunately. Opponent's down to 1 card. What's the worst that could happen if we don't? Let's do the math again. So we swing in for 5, 6, 7 and put them to 9. Sack to 8. Sack to 7. Rally. I think that's good enough to kill them. If they don't have something to do. So we could have, I think they might have had a better turn if we had not killed the Kiora, but we'll see. They only have the 1 card. Who knows? Hopefully they don't have any shenanigans, because that would make us sad. We're very close here. And they scoop it up. All right, so we were able to get there, and after that first game was so frustrating, but you can see the power of our deck and the synergies of it when our opponent doesn't have a lot of interaction. They did have 2 tail swipes, though. All right, well, taking down one of the best decks in the format. I'm not going to complain anymore, maybe. We'll see. Probably will. But our deck drew the cards it needed to and got there, so our opponent had a very reactive hand in Game 3 and also missed some land drops in Game 3 and 2. We were on the struggle bus in Game 2, but on Game 3 we were able to cobble it together pretty well and take advantage of it, and they made some choices that further hindered their mana issues, but I think probably because of what was in their hand. Anyway, all right, we'll take it. And for CyclesGaming.com, this is Johnny Cycles. I'll catch y'all on the next one. This has been another edition of Pioneer Curious. Thanks for watching. This is Johnny Cycles. If you haven't already, check out my website, CyclesGaming.com, where you can read about my various commander decks, watch my modern brews in action, read the articles, and watch the gameplay from my Pioneer decks, and read my science fiction fantasy novel, The Podkind, that I'm publishing serially. If you like the content, please click that subscribe button on YouTube. Everybody counts. As always, thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all on the next one.